its lens. The human eye has a very thin transparent membrane or cover. This is called the cornea. The light coming from objects enters the eye through the cornea. Maximum amount of incident light is refracted inside the eye at the outer surface of the cornea. There is a dark, fleshy screen or diaphragm behind the cornea. This is called the iris. The color of the iris is different for different people. There is a small hole of variable diameter at the center of the iris, which is called the pupil. The pupil controls and regulates the amount of light entering the eye. If the light falling on the eye is too bright, the pupil contracts, while if the light is dim, it widens, that is, expands. On the surface of the iris, there is a bulge of transparent layers. There is a double convex transparent crystalline lens just behind the pupil. The lens provides small adjustments of the focal length to focus the image. The focal length of the eye lens can be changed by changing its shape by the action of ciliary muscles. The eye lens creates a real and inverted image of an object on the screen inside the eye. This screen is behind the eye lens and at the back part of the eye. This screen is made of light-sensitive cells and is called the retina. These cells get activated when light falls on them. They generate electric signals. These signals are conveyed to the brain through the optic nerve. Later, the brain analyzes these signals and converts them in such a way that we perceive the objects as they actually are. A normal eye can see the distant objects as well as the nearby objects clearly. When we look at objects that are far away or at infinite distances, the lens of the eye becomes thin and its focal length increases. On the other hand, when we look at nearby objects, the lens becomes more thick and its focal length decreases. This way, we can see objects clearly, irrespective of their distance. The capacity of the eye lens to change its focal length as per need is called its power of accommodation. Although the elastic lens can change its focal length, it cannot do so beyond a limit. The minimum distance of an object from a normal eye at which it is clearly and distinctly visible without any strain on the eye is known as the minimum distance of distinct vision. The position of the object at this distance is called the near point of the eye. For a normal eye, the near point is at 25 centimeters. The farthest distance of an object from a human eye at which it is clearly and distinctly visible without any strain on the eye is called the farthest distance of distinct vision. The position of the object at this distance is called the far point of the eye. For a normal human eye, the far point is at infinity. Do you know? The eyeball is approximately spherical in shape with a diameter of about 2.4 centimeters. The working of the lens in the human eye is extremely important. The lens can change its focal length to adjust and see objects at different distances. After understanding about the structure and functioning of lens, let us now proceed to understand about the defects of vision and their corrections. Defects of vision and their corrections. Let us perform an activity. Let us try to read a book, keeping it very far from our eyes. Can we read the book clearly? No, we cannot. Let us now try to read a book, keeping it very close to our eyes. Can we read the book clearly now? No, we cannot. Let us now try to read a book keeping it at a distance of 25 centimeters from eyes. Yes. This time we are able to read the book clearly without any strain on eyes. Some people cannot see things clearly due to loss of accommodation power of the lenses in their eyes. Defective refraction by the lenses causes their vision to become faint and fuzzy. In general, there are three types of refraction defects. Come, let us understand these defects one by one. Myopia or nearsightedness. In this case, the human eye can see nearby objects distinctly but is unable to see distant objects clearly. This means that the far point of the eye is not at infinity but shifts closer to the eye. In nearsightedness, the image of a distant object is formed in front of the retina instead of on the retina. There are two possible reasons for this defect. 1. Ciliary muscles do not relax sufficiently. Therefore, the converging power of the eye lens becomes high. 2. The distance between the eye lens and retina increases relative to the normal eye as the eyeball is elongated. This defect is corrected by using spectacles with concave lens of proper focal length. This lens causes light rays to diverge before they strike the eye lens. A concave lens of appropriate power is chosen to produce the required divergence. Hence, after the converging action of the eye lens, the image is formed on the retina. The focal length of a concave lens is negative, so a lens with negative power is required for correcting nearsightedness. The power of the lens is different for different eyes depending on the magnitude of their nearsightedness. Let us know about another eye defect. Hypermetropia or farsightedness. It is a defect in which the human eye can see distant objects distinctly but is unable to see nearby objects clearly. This means that the near point of the eye is no longer at 25 centimeters but shifts farther away. The image of the nearby object falls behind retina. There are two possible reasons for this defect. 1. Weak action of ciliary muscles causes low converging power of the eye lens. 2. Due to the flattening of the eyeball, the distance between the eye lens and retina decreases and the focal length of the lens becomes very large. Hypermetropia is corrected by using spectacles with a convex lens of proper focal length. Light rays are converged by the convex lens before they strike the eye lens. A convex lens of appropriate power is chosen to produce the required convergence. Hence, after the converging action of the eye lens, the image is formed on the retina. The focal length of a convex lens is positive, thus the spectacles used to correct farsightedness has positive power. The power of these lenses is different depending on the extent of farsightedness. Come, let us now know about one more eye defect. Presbyopia. Presbyopia is also called. It is the defect of vision in which aged people find it difficult to see nearby objects comfortably and clearly without spectacles. Generally, the ability of the lens of adjusting the focal length, that is the power of accommodation of the lens, decreases with age. This is because ciliary muscles near the lens lose the capacity to change the focal length of the eye lens. The near point of aged people recedes, and they find it difficult to see nearby objects distinctly without spectacles. This defect is corrected in the same way as hypermetropia, that is, by using spectacles having convex lenses. Sometimes people suffer both nearsightedness as well as farsightedness. In such a case, A bifocal lens is required to correct the defect. In a bifocal lens, the upper part is a concave lens which corrects nearsightedness, while the lower part is a convex lens which corrects the farsightedness. Come, let us now do one interesting activity. Activity. Let us find out the types of spectacles generally used by students in a class of 10 standard. The powers of the spectacles are recorded in a tabular form. What inference you can derive observing the table? The power of a lens used in a spectacle can be negative or positive. Negative power indicates use of a concave lens, while positive power indicates use of a convex lens. The power of most of the lenses used in spectacles is negative. This means that the lenses used are of concave type. Concave lenses are used to correct the eye defect called myopia. The other student using lenses of positive power indicates that he is suffering from hypermetropia. So, our observations tell us that myopia is most common among the students. Come, after this interesting activity, let us now proceed further. Apparent size of an object. Let us consider two objects, PQ and P1Q1, having same size but kept at different distances from the eye. The object PQ, which is nearer to the eye, will appear to be of greater size than the object P1Q1. As shown here, it is clear that the angle subtended by the object PQ at the eye is greater than the angle subtended by the object P1Q1 at the eye. From this, we can conclude that the apparent size of an object depends on the angle subtended by the object at the eye. If the object is nearer to the eye, the angle it subtends is greater, and hence its observed size is also greater. In order to see a small object distinctly, we bring it nearer to the eye. However, if the object is brought within the distance of distinct vision, we cannot see it clearly due to the strain on the eye, even though it subtends a large angle at the eye. In short, an object can be clearly seen in its most magnified form when it is at the distance of distinct vision from the eye. Sometimes, the object to be seen is so small that we are unable to see it clearly even if it is held at the distance of distinct vision. If we bring it nearer to the eye, its apparent size increases, but due to the strain caused to the eye, we cannot see it clearly. This difficulty can be removed by looking at the object through a convex lens held close to the eye. Come, let us now know the uses of concave lenses. Uses of concave lenses. 1. Instruments like scanner, CD player, and some medical equipments use laser light. For proper working of these equipments, concave lenses are used. 2. We all know about the peephole in a door. It is a small safety device which helps us to see a large area outside the door. This uses one or more concave lenses. 3. Concave lenses are used in spectacles to correct the eye defect called myopia or nearsightedness. 4. Concave lens is used to spread widely the light produced by a small bulb inside a torch. 5. Instruments like camera, telescope, microscope mainly use convex lenses. To get good quality images, a concave lens is used in front of the eyepiece or inside it. Let us now know the uses of convex lenses. Uses of convex lenses. 1. Convex lenses are used in spectacles to correct the defect of vision called hypermetropia. 2. Convex lenses are used in different optical instruments like camera, projector, spectrometer. 3. Convex lenses are used in a simple microscope, compound microscope, and telescopes. Out of these various instruments, we are now going to study the working of a few instruments in detail. Come, let us start with the simple microscope. A. Simple microscope. We all know that when the object is placed within the focal length of a convex lens, the lens produces a virtual, erect, and magnified image on the same side as that of the object. Simple microscopes work on this property. A convex lens with small focal length produces a virtual, erect, and bigger image of a small-sized object when an object is placed within the focus of the lens. Such a lens is called a simple microscope or magnifying lens. One can get a 20 times larger image of an object using such microscopes. Suppose you are given two convex lenses, one having focal length of 5 centimeters and another having focal length of 40 centimeters. Then which lens will you use as a magnifying lens? Right! The lens with focal length of 5 centimeters should be used as a magnifying lens. Simple microscope or magnifying lenses are used by watchmakers for observing small parts of a watch while cleaning or repairing it. Jewelers use it to test precious gems and to detect any flaws in them. Next, we will study about the compound microscope. B. Compound microscope. Simple microscope is used to observe small-sized objects. However, it cannot produce sufficiently large images of minute or micro objects like blood cells, cells of plants and animals, and minute living beings like bacteria, etc. To study these objects, a compound microscope is used. A compound microscope consists of two convex lenses called the objective and the eyepiece. The objective has a smaller cross-section and smaller focal length. The eyepiece has a bigger cross-section. Its focal length is also larger than that of the objective. These lenses are fitted inside a metallic tube in such a way that the distance between them can be changed. The axes of both lenses are along the same line. As shown here, the magnification occurs in two stages. The image formed by the first lens acts as the object for the second lens. In this way, higher magnification can be obtained by the combined effect of the two lenses. C. Telescope. The telescope is used to see distant objects clearly in their magnified form. The telescopes used to observe astronomical objects such as stars and planets are called astronomical telescopes. Astronomical telescopes are of two types. 1. A refracting telescope. 2. A reflecting telescope. In a refracting telescope, lenses are used, while in a reflecting telescope, a combination of mirrors and lenses is used. In both of these, the image formed by the objective acts as the object for the eyepiece, which forms the final image. The objective has a large diameter and larger focal length, because of which the maximum amount of light coming from the distant object can be collected. On the other hand, the size of the eyepiece is smaller and its focal length is also less. Both the lenses are fitted inside a metallic tube in such a way that the distance between them can be changed. The principal axes of both the lenses are along the same straight line. Generally, by using the same objective but different eyepieces, different magnifications can be obtained. After knowing the uses of convex lenses, let us now move to the next part of the chapter.